Welcome to Fly Network's Top 10, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 action cartoons from the 90s. This list is made up of cartoons that debuted in the 90s that was action oriented, so there will be no anime on this list or any funny type cartoons. This list is something that's holding dear to me because I was raised in the 90s, where I came up in the 90s. So if it's a cartoon that's not on here that you think should be on here, let me know in the comments below. And before we get into the video, can you do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and like the video if you like the content. But without further ado, let's get right into this list. Coming in at number 10, Biker Mice from Mars. This was a well animated cartoon with some pretty dope characters. Whoever thought that mice ride a motorcycle would be something that would be marketed to kids? Well, they hit the nail on the head because this was a ball knocked out the park, in my opinion. I used to love this cartoon, and the characters was really dope too. I had a lot of the action figures as well. So yeah, that's why this is at number 10.
Now to collect our well-deserved praise, try not to block my spotlight, will ya?
Thanks for the help, boys, but
At number 9, Mighty Max. Mighty Max was really dope. I loved this cartoon. It had great voice acting, great animation, great plot. This cartoon is highly underrated in my opinion. And if you haven't watched it, you should go ahead and check it out. I mean, everything was well done. It had a great music. Everything was well done. Can't give this cartoon enough praise.
I'm Max. Thanks. Oh, wait, here's a rupee for your trouble.
Coming in at number 8, Street Sharks. Take everything I said about the Biker Mice from Mars and just add it to this. This is everything that Biker Mice from Mars was, but only more extreme and more in your face, and they had better action figures too. Like, they toys was cold as hell, I ain't gonna lie, man. That's part of the reason why this is so high up in the list. Well, it's not that high, it's only at number 8. But other than that, the cartoon was really dope too. It was alright. They had a lot of one-liners, but it was cool.
He sure does. And if he's got any gene-slamming secrets worth knowing, I'll be there to find out.
Another underrated classic. Reboot is one of them hidden gems that you really have to be there to experience. This cartoon animation don't hold up as well as it did back in the day, but when I used to watch this back then, I just thought it was so ahead of its time. And a lot of the inner workings of the show was them talking about the internet and viruses and everything that the internet is today. So cool cartoon.
Sorry guys, end program. Better luck next cycle.
Another cartoon with 3D animation, Beast Wars. This cartoon was everything that Transformers was, only with animals. And as a kid, I was a huge fan of animals and bugs and different things like that. Also, they had some pretty neat toys. You're gonna hear me say that a lot sometimes about shows, because as a kid growing up, toys is what made the show, the game, and everything. This is what made us buy or watch the TV show, is because of the great toys. And when I say the great toys, man, they had some great toys. That's why I got the slideshow up, just so y'all can remember how good the toys was. But the show was also very, very entertaining, and it had some pretty good music. It had some stories and some like life lessons on there, kind of. Like, I really like the Transformers Beast Wars, man. I actually like this more than the original. I know that's a hot take, but this was what I liked more.
It looks like the Maximals have won the Beast Wars.
Coming in at number 5, Superman the Animated Series. This show was so dope. One of the reasons that made the show so good is because I did not like Superman, but after I watched this, I found a newfound respect for him, because I used to think he was just overpowered and a dork. And then watching this show, it really grounded his powers. They had great storytelling, great animation, great voice acting, great music. This was an all-around well written and directed show, and I loved it, man. Shout out to the whole staff of Superman the Animated Series.
Keep an eye on that, will you? I'll be back. I knew this place had possibilities.
At number 4, Gargoyles. This cartoon is highly underrated. This has some of the best voice acting you can ask for, best animation, pretty decent action, great music. I mean, the theme for this show alone put this at number 4. But I feel like it had a short run. I think it only had 3 seasons if I'm not mistaken. But in those 3 seasons, you got a lot of gold. You got life lessons throughout the show. You had a whole bunch of different dynamics throughout the show, and I loved every minute of it. I mean, this show is highly undefeated, man. If you've never seen Gargoyles, check it out.
If one day I cannot lead, you shall, my friend.
Coming in at number 3, X-Men. This cartoon was so dope. The theme alone could have made this cartoon number 1, real talk. Like, this theme was one of the best themes out of any cartoon that came out in the 90s. But I digress. Let me talk about what makes X-Men so great. It seemed like they took all the formats from the from the comics, and just added it to the cartoon and tried to stay original to the source material. I loved X-Men growing up, man. Not to mention all the countless X-Men toys that I had. This cartoon was so dope, action packed, voice acting on point, animation crazy. It still holds up to this day, man.
You always liked pushing around people smaller than you. Well, I'm smaller.
And the runner-up for best action cartoon of the 90s is Batman. Batman, the animated series, was so dope. Like I said earlier, everything I said about Superman, you could add to Batman. I really didn't care for Batman. Look, I grew up in a Marvel household, okay? And so I really didn't care for Batman. I thought he was kind of corny. I'm like, look at this rich guy trying to be a hero. But the storytelling, the detective work, and all that stuff that went into this show, the music, the voice acting, the introduction of Harvey Quinn, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was not an original character until this show came out. And the dynamic story they told about Mr. Freeze and how he got his powers, like I said, a lot of the stuff they took from this cartoon and added to the comic book. So off that alone, this could have been number 1, to be honest. But it's only one cartoon that I like way more than Batman.
How do you like a hacienda?
Charming.
Before we get to number 1, here's a couple of honorable mentions.
My team with the power of heart. When the 5 powers combine, they summon Earth's greatest champion.
And the best cartoon of the 90s, as far as action cartoons go, is Spider-Man. Spider-Man was one of the best cartoons of the 90s because it had great voice acting, great animation, and just a great plot. A lot of source material came straight from the comic books, and they didn't stray too far away from the source material. So I loved it. I ate it up as a kid. Of course, they had great toys. I mean, Spider-Man is one of the, if not the highest selling superhero, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Spider-Man at number 1. And with all that being said, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support, and I guess I'll catch you on the next top 10. God bless and peace.
Stay till I come back. If I come back.